Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Angela. I'm so happy to have you. On this channel, we talk all about mental health and especially BPD. But today, we're going to be talking all about bipolar. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss one of my videos. I love you guys, I appreciate you so much, and I really hope you enjoy. So for a little fun fact, the first thing I was ever diagnosed with when I was 13 years old was manic depression, which is what bipolar used to be called, and also the doctors at the hospital told me they didn't want to diagnose me as bipolar since I was so young. So let's get into it. What is bipolar? Bipolar is a disorder associated with episodes of mood swings ranging from depressive lows to manic highs. The exact cause of bipolar is actually unknown, but they do know that your environment, genetics, and altered brain chemistry play a big role in it. Bipolar was formerly called manic depression to explain the range of mood swings that you switch back and forth between. There are two types of mania when it comes to bipolar: hypomania and just regular mania. Mania is a more severe form of hypomania, but they have the same symptoms. Mood swings in bipolar can affect sleep, energy, judgment, behavior, and the ability to think clearly. Episodes of mood swings in bipolar can range from switching multiple times a year or rarely. For example, a psychiatrist that I had taught me about my bipolar cycle, which happens every 2 years. So every 2 years, around the same time of the year, I fall into a really, really deep depression caused by my bipolar. Now, your bipolar cycle could be a lot more rapid than 2 years, or it could even be longer than that. The ranges of your bipolar cycle can be pretty much anything, ranging from mood swings happening multiple times a year to rarely over a few years, if that makes sense. Bipolar is a lifelong condition that can be treated with psychotherapy, which is just regular talkative therapy, and also medications. Now let's talk about the two different kinds of bipolar. So there's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is classified as if you've had one or more manic episode followed by an episode of hypomania or a depressive episode. Bipolar 2 is classified as if you've had at least one major depressive episode followed by an episode of hypomania, but you've never experienced full mania. Although it sounds like bipolar 2 is just a more mild form of bipolar 1, that actually isn't true. They are completely different diagnoses. Even though mania in bipolar 1 can be a lot more severe, a depressive episode in someone who has bipolar 2 can last a lot longer than someone who experiences bipolar 1. So like I kind of mentioned before, mania and hypomania actually have the same symptoms, but when you're experiencing mania, you might have a lot more problems in work, school, relationships, and social activities. Now, let's talk about what the most common signs of mania are. So everyone experiences mania differently, but some of the most common signs of mania: uncontrollable racing thoughts, being abnormally energetic, exaggerated sense of well-being and self-confidence. This can be called euphoria. You could experience a decreased need for sleep and an increased sex drive. When you're in mania, you experience a lot of impulsiveness, impulsive thoughts. You don't really think about what the consequences could be for your actions or how they could affect you in the long run. You might even feel like you're above the law, so participating in illegal activities doesn't necessarily feel like a big deal to you. Suicidal thoughts can come along with mania, as well as things like overly spending money maybe you don't have, or spending all of the money you've saved, and poor decision making. So that kind of goes along with impulsiveness. Not necessarily thinking about how what you're about to do is going to affect you in the long run, or the consequences that could come after it. You might even put yourself in a position where you could harm yourself or others, and you don't necessarily care about that because you're experiencing mania. Now, let's talk about some of the most common signs of depression. Depression can also look different for everybody, but some of the most common signs are feeling sad, empty, and hopeless. Relationships become harder. It feels like with the people in your life, it becomes a lot harder to get along with them because you could be very irritable and hostile due to your depression. You might lose all interest you've had in activities you once loved. It could even be hobbies you did every day. Now you have absolutely no interest in them. They don't bring you any enjoyment. Depression makes you feel like you really just want to lay in your bed all day long and not do anything. It makes you super unmotivated. Depression can cause you to sleep way too much or not at all. With some people, when they're depressed, they experience insomnia where you don't need to sleep at all. Depression can cause you to feel very worthless about yourself and very guilty. There can be labels that come along with bipolar, such as mixed or rapid cycling. I'm not going to talk about those in this video. If you want to Google about rapid cycling to see if that is what affects you most, feel free to do that. If you're interested in a video about mixed or rapid cycling, leave a comment down below and maybe I can film one of those in the future. Your feelings with bipolar can change with the seasons. So for example, my bipolar cycle happens every 2 years around December when it starts to get super cold out, dark out super early, so the winter is definitely coming, and that is when I get the most depressed and fall into my biggest depressive episode. The weird thing about bipolar is you may even enjoy your feelings of mania because obviously feeling so high on top of the world sounds a lot better than feeling so worthless like your life has no meaning when you're in a depressive episode. So some people even enjoy the feelings of mania. Some people will even try and bring out their feelings of mania on purpose so that they don't have to feel the depressive side of bipolar. If you think you or anyone you know experiences these symptoms that could be bipolar, do not be afraid to ask for help. Bipolar is a condition where you really need outside help. It's really hard to overcome this condition by yourself. Medication plays a big role in helping even out your bipolar moods. So finding a psychologist or a psychiatrist that will work well with you can be extremely helpful for someone who has bipolar. And as I always like to remind you guys, it is never embarrassing to get help for your mental illness. You should never be ashamed to get help for your mental illness. It is the same thing as telling someone you have diabetes, you know? There's something medically wrong with you, and that's not anything to be embarrassed of. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe down below. I always link my guide on how to get help in the description box below, which has a bunch of online therapy websites, one specifically for teenagers and one specifically for the LGBTQ plus community. I hope you guys have an amazing day or night whenever you're watching this, and I love you so much.